Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we are going to be looking at my best polishes inspired by December's birthstones. As you can probably tell, it is very blue heavy since December's birthstones are all blue. The ones that I'm choosing to focus on today are going to be blue zircon and tanzanite. So without further ado, let me just show you my picks. Starting with my blue zircon picks, the first shade I pulled out was ILNP's Aria, which is a bright blue linear holo. I personally really love these lighter or brighter shades of blue zircon, but they can come in slightly darker shades that are often mistaken for sapphire, which I obviously already shared a ton of picks for in September, but I guess these lighter shades could also be seen as similar to aquamarine, but I don't know, they're just not as pale in my opinion. Either way, I loved the linear holo formula on this one and how it's super strong and flashy. I feel like it adds to that brilliant gemstone kind of quality. In a similar vein, I also wanted to include ILNP's Blowing Bubbles, which is a pretty similar vibrant aqua with a linear holo finish, but there is also this silver metallic flaky throughout. I felt like that extra detail of the metallic was perfect to capture those icy winter vibes for December, and I loved how vibrant the blue base is in this one. Blue zircon has been associated with wisdom and spiritual growth along with healing, protection, and success. So overall, very calming but grounded kind of vibes. The next blue I picked out was OPI's Surf Naked, which is a bright blue pearlescent shade. I know pearly finishes aren't for everybody, but if you are careful with your application, it can look pretty nice. If you couldn't tell by the name, this was released in a summer collection, so maybe not really fitting for December, but I loved this color. I thought it was so perfect to match some of the brighter shades of the birthstone. At least I thought it was pretty in line with what I picture for blue zircon, but the finish itself is not as lustrous as the others. So while I do prefer a more blingy, flashy kind of birthstone mani, I think this one still is really pretty and soft in a more subdued and elegant kind of way. If you aren't a fan of the brushstrokes or just have a harder time with your application, a little trick to sort of soften pearl finishes is to sponge on some layers. So here is 2 coats of that. And my last blue zircon pick is Mooncat Dewpearls, which is a soft blue jelly base with a glowing blue to purple shifting shimmer. I know this one is super pale, where it kind of might work better as an aquamarine polish, but I just thought this color was so fitting for this time of year. I feel like the jelly base just kind of looks like blue ice, and the shimmer just has this icy quality as well, so you know, maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I thought it was pretty and wanted to include it. Getting into my tanzanite picks, most are in the dark blue category, but I really wanted to include a lighter one since it almost looks like periwinkle, so I picked Morgan Taylor's Gift It Your Best, which, yes, is another pearlescent formula, but it's in this beautiful periwinkle color. Funny enough though, the more pale varieties of tanzanite are usually seen as less valuable compared to the much more saturated colors, but I still think this is a pretty option, especially for December. The next polish I chose is Cirque Cassiopeia, which is a magnetic polish, so I will be showing this with the velvet effect, but it has this darker indigo sort of jelly base color with a much brighter flash of blue magnetic pigment, so giving that perfect balance of blue and violet. I also really like that this was a magnetic because tanzanites are often associated with transformation, which I think magnetics are very transformative, and as we often see with more purple-leaning gemstones, tanzanite can also symbolize things like intuition, spiritual growth, as well as a connection to one's higher self. So as we get into my darker Tanzanite picks, I of course am starting with Holo Taco's Tanzanite Away from their Birthstones collection, which is such a shame that it wasn't popular enough to come back, although I think with this one specifically there was a pigment sourcing issue, which ironically enough kind of coincides with the fact that Tanzanites are also incredibly rare. They're found exclusively in the Marilani Hills of northern Tanzania near Mount Kilimanjaro. So while I know this collection was supposed to be limited edition in the first place, it's just extra funny that this one truly is limited and rare. For anyone who missed out though, Holo Taco's Midnight Owl is still available in their catalog. It does have a very different finish, more of a micro glitter as opposed to a shimmer, but in a somewhat similar indigo sort of base color that I think is just so beautiful. Not to mention all of the glitters and even iridescent flakies in here just give it such beautiful sparkle, making it a perfect birthstone polish. I also have a couple of ILNP picks. The first one I pulled out was ILNP's Nocturnal, which does have a black base, but it is filled with a really gorgeous indigo blue sort of shimmer, as well as this dainty scattered hollow sparkle. It's mainly the shimmer color in here that I thought was really close to a lot of the Tanzanite colors that I've seen. It just looks so spot on, but unfortunately because the base is black, I feel like it just gives a very, very dark look to the shade overall. But again, Tanzanite can also come in a very dark color, almost looking like a sapphire, but a little bit more purple, so maybe this could work. And my last pick, which I think is the best one for Tanzanite, is Last Call from ILNP. This is in a much brighter, more vibrant indigo sort of base, but it's just absolutely packed with a gorgeous glowy blue large shimmer particle that also shifts to purple and pink in extreme lighting. So not only is the color very close, but even the way that the shimmer is very color shifty also plays into how Tanzanite can look a little different depending on the lighting. For example, incandescent lighting brings out the more purple violet tones, while daylight enhances the blue. I feel like a solar polish transitioning between blue and violet would be perfect for Tanzanite. So that wraps up my best polishes inspired by December's birthstones. As always, I would love to know what you think of these picks, especially if you're born in December. Growing up, I was definitely most familiar with blue zircon, being this lighter, almost aqua kind of color, but a lot more saturated than aquamarine, for example, which I already loved that birthstone. So seeing this one be a little bit more of a punchy light blue, I always thought it was so beautiful. And then as I got older, whenever it was that I discovered Tanzanite as another birthstone, my mind was blown because I was like, that is so stunning. It just looks like the most perfect shade of like indigo, where it's a little bit more purple than a lot of traditional sapphires, for example, that are a darker blue. And I feel like it perfectly captures that cold harshness of winter while still being really beautiful. I always love doing these birthstone videos because it's just so fun to look at the stones, be inspired by their color and beauty, and try to find close enough matches in my collection. Though I still don't know how close I got with the Tanzanite picks. I feel like I was really struggling with those as far as getting like a 100% color match, but I still am happy with the ones that I went with. I feel like you get those Tanzanite vibes, so it's good enough for what I had, but I really am curious to know if you have any closer Tanzanite colored polishes, or even what you would pick for blue zircon, since again, that one is a pretty unique shade of light blue. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video and my picks. Make sure to leave me a like if you did, or leave me a comment with any and all thoughts that you have down below so we can chat about it. But thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!